Today I'm taking a look at 1987's Prison on Fire on 4K from Imprint Films. This has Chow Yun-fat doing what he does so well, just being that charismatic lead with a little bit of depth that really drives the film forward. You've got Tony Leung Ka-fai, who is giving the film a little bit of vulnerability, who becomes a cipher for the viewer watching into this one. And then at the helm, you've got Ringo Lam doing what he does so well, taking genre cinema and filling it with pure aggression, anger, friendship, and really moral exhaustion as well. This is a wonderful film. It follows Lo Kai-yo, played by Tony Leung Ka-fai, who is a young advertising man sent to prison for manslaughter. He enters this world completely unprepared. He doesn't know the rules, he doesn't know how the hierarchies work, he doesn't understand how quickly something can go wrong and put him in grave danger. Inside the prison, he meets Chung, played by Chow Yun-fat, an inmate who knows exactly how this place works. Chung has learned how to survive here. He knows when it's time to kind of crack a joke, when it's time to keep quiet, and he knows when it's time to stand up and fight. And for the most part, that sounds familiar. It's like the kind of tale you've seen before, but when you have Ringo Lam and when you've got Chow Yun-fat, you're getting something a little bit special. Ringo Lam really puts his view of the world onto this one. It does not feel like a fantasy prison movie. It feels more realer than that. It feels like real situations. It doesn't have these grandiose, over dramatic moments. It just feels impactful when it does have these moments of terror or anxiety or power struggles within it. You know, it feels dirty and emotionally alive. It feels like a real place. You know, when he took City on Fire and he took that cop thriller and he filled it with paranoia and loyalty and betrayal, here he takes like what could have been a typical prison drama and turns it into something that's incredibly tense. The prison here isn't just a location, it is the whole society. There are rules that everybody knows but nobody says out loud. There are systems of control inside systems of control. People are just trying to survive in this place.
我而家講嘢你就要聽住，監房係最講紀律嘅，就算屙督尿都要話俾阿 Sir 知。
Men are trying to dominate, people are trying to exploit, and there's guards who are often more dangerous than the prisoners inside the walls, and it's what gives the film this edge. It's not just the walls that are trapping these people in, it's the whole structure of this environment. Like I said, Chow Yun-fat, absolute standout again. Like there is something so charismatic about this actor in almost every performance. You just instantly like him. He's not played as cool. You know, when he's introduced, he's annoying. He's bigger and louder and flashier than he should be, but he lights up the scene with his smile. He can be funny and warm, and he can be experienced and likeable at certain moments, but that initial introduction was just a kind of grating. But even though he's being annoying, you still like him. But he also knows how to survive this place. He knows how to make people laugh, and he knows that sometimes laughter is the best defence to diffuse a situation.
有冇煙仔啊？有，包肚大把。身上有冇煙仔啊 ？No sir。俾我搜到啲資料加監㗎啦。Yes sir。收你水。
Chung is not a character to be meddled with. He can be pushed too far, and it jumps into some great action later on. What I like about Chung is this smiling, happy person is a performance. He is performing for everybody else because inside he's being torn apart by the system, but just tries to put a brave face on it. Tony Leung Ka-fai, he is, like I said, he's the way for the audience to move into this world. He knows nothing like us. He's not like a hardened criminal. He's not streetwise. He's really not ready for the violence and manipulation that's going to surround him. And that vulnerability really matters. Through him, you really feel the shock of entering this prison system. As everything, the routines and the threats and the humiliations, and how the speed of just society gets stripped away and he's left barren in this place. It's not heroic or fantasy, but it's actually in a real painful manner. And when you get the friendship between these two characters, you know, Chung's almost taking him under his wing to kind of show him how this works, to try and give him advice. He's going to make mistakes along the way, but he's just hoping that none of them are grave enough to cause real danger to him.
嗱，傻彪，俾下面啦！
阿正，唔好再推啊！我同佢隻槍俾足面你噶啦！我兩個兄弟交7日監，我唔打佢，我點同你手足交代啊？
And I kind of like that balance between these two characters, because there is a power dynamic there where Chung knows everything, but eventually there becomes a mutual respect between the two of them, which I really kind of liked. You know, the one thing you know you're getting here is the prison is basically a pressure cooker. Everything is going to build up, and it doesn't just leap from like action scene to action scene. It lets these small tensions build gradually, creating that pressure. You know, it could be a small insult, it could be a rumour that's spread, a meal situation. All these things which are little accumulate into something that's going to be explosive. And you know that Ringo Lam is in full control and knows exactly what he's doing. He's building this intricate house before knocking it all down. And when things like finally explode, it feels inevitable. Not because the plot needs action, but because the system has been tightening around the characters the whole film, and that is about to snap. There is violence within Prison on Fire, but it's not stylish in the heroic bloodshed kind of way. It feels ugly, it's chaotic, it's emotional, it's brutal and unforgiving, unflinching as well. This isn't like John Woo's romanticised violence. This is Ringo Lam's world showing you exactly how this is done, and he hurts the characters, and it could be characters that we've grown to love throughout the film, and that's why the action works. It's got an emotional core at the heart of it. What actually works best for me, considering that this is a familiar story, is the emotional context under it. A lesser film would make this all about the prison, the violence, and nothing else. But Prison on Fire understands that the violence only matters if we care about the people inside of it. And we have that Chung and Kai's friendship, which really gives the film a lot of warmth. We've got the prison hierarchy, which adds the tension, and then Chow Yun-fat gives that performance that is equal part charm and sadness, and it's why the film lasts. It's why it's not just gritty and not just entertaining. It has that feeling that drives it forward for everybody. You know, there isn't much that didn't work for me. Some viewers may find the film familiar because it has those typical beats. Like I said, this isn't a wholly unique story. You've got that corrupt guard, you've got the new inmate learning the rules, you have the prison factions. We've seen all this before, but this is different because of the way it's handled and directed, and I think that's really kind of the standout for me. The 4K release is incredible as always. I'm really loving what Imprint are doing with their 4Ks. Again, as always, I love the fact that you get the Blu-ray, you get the 4K, you get both options here, which is something that everybody should do. And then they layer it with some awesome extras as well. So let's dive in and have a look. Here we are in the disc for Prison on Fire. Let's go to the special features. First up, we have an audio commentary by Hong Kong film expert James Mudge. Then we have Bravery Behind Bars, interview with post-production manager Tony Chow. This runs for 13 minutes 16 seconds and is one of those kind of like really interesting talking heads of a sort of person that you don't really hear much of, you know, the post-production and what that really entails. Next we have Burning Ambitions, interview with production manager Chan Lam, and this runs for 16 minutes 46 seconds, talks a little bit about his relationship with Ringo Lam and some of the movies that he's worked on with him. Next we have Hong Kong Confidential, Inside Prison on Fire with author Grady Hendrix. This is something that's appeared on a lot of the Asian releases. This is something that I always look forward to. I think they are terrific. This runs for 10 minutes and 4 seconds, and basically just talking about a sort of brief condensed history of this film. Long may these continue, stand out extras on any disc. Next we have Convicts and Convictions, interview with author and critic David West, and this runs for 16 minutes 11 seconds, just kind of looking back at the film, the impact that it had, where it was in people's careers, and how this really, you know, reinvigorated a lot. We have an audio archival interview with director Ringo Lam, which runs for 7 minutes 25 seconds, an image gallery and a theatrical trailer, and that's the extras for Prison on Fire. So there we have it. Prison on Fire 1 is, look, it's great. It's great. It's Ringo Lam has his best kind of time of creating films. We've got Chow Yun-fat, who was really starting to hit his stride at this time. You've got a familiar tale that's given a different approach and works incredibly well. It doesn't outstay its welcome. It knows exactly what it wants to do, and it hits that mark incredibly well. I would thoroughly recommend picking up Prison on Fire. If you've seen it before, I'd love to know your thoughts or your remembrances on it. Let me know in the comment box below. As always, there is more content up here where you can see more of my stuff. In the description box are links to Patreon, membership program and manvfilm.com, always in which you can support me. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.